Okay, in beautiful St. Kitts, near the Marriott, looking up towards Frigate Bay up on the mountaintop. Wanted to talk to you today because this comes up a lot, people thinking about moving different places. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about things I don't like in St. Kitts, because I like to bring up the positives and the negatives, but I'm going to tell you something across the board. St. Kitts has got a lot more positives than negatives, but I like just kind of shoot them out to you and tell you things that I've run across here. Also, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 45 days, do three things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen. You get new videos automatically as they come out. And would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below and we'll get back with you. And if you want to learn more on how to get your taxes to zero, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. Hit the top bar that says apply with us. Fill out the questions. Hit that bottom bar that says send it to us. We'll get back with you. Okay, now let me tell you some things, probably the hardest things, and when especially people from expats that are coming from Canada or the US and the culture is different. I'm going to tell you probably the things that you're going to have to get used to that is totally different, okay? Depending on where you live here in St. Kitts, even at Frigate Bay, the water, we get some droughts around here sometimes, and they literally have to cut the water off, like usually at 11 o'clock at night. It's not all the time, it's just once in a while. But sometimes they don't let you know. And so you really have to have like a bucket prepared. And of course, if you have a cistern, you can get around that. So you can have a cistern and then, just get around that. If you don't, then, you're going to have to deal with that particular situation. Now, it's not always every place in the country. Every place in the country is different. So it just depends on the drought, where you are in the country, and so forth. But this is one thing I've had to get used to. And the way you do it is you just pour water in buckets. And I'll be honest with you, I get a shower just as easy with that as I do a regular one. But this is something, if you don't have a cistern, you're going to have to get used to that, okay? Because we've had some real droughts down here, and the government has never switched to using desalination. We got water, just tons of it all over here, but you have to remember to desalinate water and pull it out of the ocean, it's very expensive. Dubai does it, but Dubai has got unlimited amounts of oil and energy to do it. But I'm going to tell you something, the water content in Dubai is incredibly bad. I've got eczema, and it's the worst it's ever been when I was in Dubai because of the parts per million of the water content. It's like, probably be 500, 550. It's incredibly high. And in fact, you would never want to drink it. You would probably have really bad kidney stones. But these are some things that you're going to have to adjust to in St. Kitts. And that's just one thing. Another thing is dealing with, I've had a real issue with lawyers in St. Kitts. The first one I went to that I used never showed up for closing. The second one I used, we didn't return a phone call. I was off the island for 2 years. And it was before I actually moved to St. Kitts and trying to get some things done. The lawyer wouldn't return phone calls or nothing. Make a long story short, I ended up, when I came back to St. Kitts, when he wouldn't return phone calls, I went to the Attorney General's office. And in fact, the last message I left the guy was, I'm on my way to the Attorney General's office. He within 5 minutes, he's calling me back while I'm in the office with the Attorney General. Of course, the Attorney General wanted to talk to him and basically just blistered him out. And the guy told me on the phone that he had lost all the paperwork. I mean, this guy lost all the paperwork and figured I would just forget about everything for a title. I mean, this is incredible. This is the stupidity that was running across this guy's mind, that since he lost it, no one would care anymore. And this is a different type of thinking and culture that you're going to have to adjust to. Had another lawyer dealt with. Basically, stole the client's money, okay? He was basically in court on it. It was a mess, okay? And we had to go through some lawyers to try to find, we went through several of them, quite a few, to find some good ones, okay? But this is one thing that you're going to run into with lawyers in St. Kitts. In fact, it got so bad, they set up a judiciary committee here several years back, because I think one of the reasons was my feeling on it was the head of the Bar Association spent some time in jail. I mean, from basically absconding money or taking and doing it for his own means and not for the client. I mean, this is the type of stuff you see. This guy was the head of the Bar Association here. So you really have to, these are things that you need to be really careful when you do business in the Caribbean, okay? And, you know, I can tell you other stories. We've had other problems. Had one lawyer that went to court on a civil matter and just forgot the most important stuff, didn't even bring it. It blew my mind. But this is just the tip of the iceberg on stuff that you have to deal with. Now, the good stuff outweighs the bad, okay? One thing I'll tell you too is if you hire someone to do, you know, labor type stuff for you, if you're down here, a plumber, electrician or something, I would try to get someone who's used someone down here that's been referred. They've had good results with them, because you could have a real problem. And when you're dealing with a laborer like that, I would always make sure that you buy the parts yourself and don't pay that guy until he finishes the work. That's what I would advise you to do there. So these are just some things that you need to think about. You know, I'll tell you some other things too, is you're going to have to get used to this, is if you're dealing with people that are from a different culture, you'll find out that maybe responsibility, you view it different than what they do. And I'm not saying which one's right, which one's wrong. If you're brought up where someone calls you and leaves a message or an email or whatever, and you expect them to call you back or email them, you know, you might run into a situation where it's real rare in the US or Canada where a person doesn't return your phone call or your email, you know, unless somebody's trying to sell you something and it's one of these door-to-door salesmen or something. But I'm talking about, you know, just an average person you're doing business with, that you know, and then, you know, they just don't return your phone call or your email. You run into this a lot down here. Now, you'll get somebody, if you complain and say, hey, I'm switching to you because the last guy didn't email me, he didn't return my phone calls, my emails or nothing. That guy will start off real good. And then several months down the road, he becomes just like the last guy that you just got away from, okay? In other words, to do it, find someone continuously that's going to be responsible. That's difficult to find, okay? That's why you should try to get people that are referred, and they've had good results. That way you will, you know, you can try to overcome that, because, you know, there are good people to work with down here that are responsible. I've used them, okay? But I've also used a ton of them that turned out to be a real problem, okay? So you really have to be careful on that. Anyway, folks, if you want to learn more, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. Hit the top bar that says apply with us. Fill out the questions. Hit that bottom bar that says send it to us. We deal with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. And don't forget, hit that subscribe, folks. You'll get over 600 videos we've got out there for you. Free videos going into a lot of different details on different countries, residency by investment programs. And this is where you're going to learn it all. And don't forget, again, hit that subscribe button. And I'll look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.